thank you. Great to have you out here today.
Thank you. You are doing really. You should be giving my speech.
No. Thank you. Yep.
好。
Move about on this stage, so get ready for him, ladies and gentlemen. Here it
女士
comes.
们、先生们，我把舞台交给杨教授。大家好，我其实是有点紧张的，因为我要上台来演讲。那么其实今天我收到的这样一个信息是我要着商务装，但是突然我进入到这个会议室的时候，发现很多人都是穿 T 恤的。 所以我今天有点穿的过于隆重了，是吗？那不管怎么样，然后我们的这个主办方有说，要用一下幻灯片，但后来我听过那个史蒂夫·乔布斯曾经说过，如果你真的要向观众传递一些信息，那就不应该使用 PPT， 因为有的时候 PPT 都不知道到底 想要表达什么样的信息？那么上一轮的这个讨论稍微延迟了20分钟，所以我就会尽快的来去结束我的演讲。那今天我的主题是关于 RWA。
in Hong Kong last year, and actually carried to the beginning of this year. One is AI. AI is one of the hottest word, large language model in the world. Okay. The other is Web3, and in Web3. The trend today, there will be a lot of talking about RWA. So I want to begin my speech by giving a couple of stories. Okay, so how many of you know this particular mobile phone brand called Tecno? How many of you actually know? 传音, okay, anybody? Okay, so Tecno, a lot of people, if you're not from China, you may not know about, you may not have heard about this mobile phone brand, okay? But Tecno is actually the large, it's a brand that has taken over Africa and parts of South America by storm, okay? So if you go to Africa, probably 1 out of every, 3 out of every 4 people would be using a phone from Tecno. Okay. And so I was fortunate enough to meet, some senior management in Tecno. And, we chatted a little bit. And I was always wondering, what do you do when you receive, you sell a phone in Zimbabwe? Okay. I have a note from a currency note from Zimbabwe, which is, I think, 1,000 billion. Okay, I mean, you probably have one. And I thought I made, I was a billionaire. Then turned out it's worth only like 1 cent. So this was the situation in for Tecno. And in fact, they also sold some phones in Argentina, and we know what happened to the pesos, Argentina. Okay? So to my surprise, they told me something I completely did not know. And for those of you who actually know what this company Tecno is about, they are actually one of the largest coffee suppliers in China. Okay? Well, why is that? Because the currencies they obtained from Africa are often useless, or not useless, but certainly they would depreciate due to inflation, and it could not be used in many places. So they changed the currency. Essentially, they were using coffee. They actually exchange Tecnophone to coffee beans, and coffee beans to something else they need. Okay, and the other story I want to tell was I went to Zhejiang province. Well, you all know Zhejiang province in China. You all know this place called the Yiwu, right? Your card here, this guy is most likely made by Yiwu. and your Donald Trump hat, the MAGA hat, also the American flag you use, that's almost certainly made in Yiwu. Okay, so I know Donald Trump hat was made in Yiwu. Okay, so so I talked to the Commerce Department in Yiwu, and they told me that for whatever they sold to South America, to Africa, to Belt and Road countries, they could only take back about half of the the proceed in hard currency. Okay, the rest are in currencies they deem as completely useless or not very valuable, like Argentina pesos, for example. Okay, so they want to find a way to solve that problem, and so this guy told me, all these countries have many things we want to have. Well, China needs, but Yiwu doesn't need. Okay? So they could not do what Tecno was doing, or to exchange their phone to coffee beans. Okay? They didn't. It's because Yiwu is a characteristic. Yiwu was there were many small manufacturers and companies. They didn't have, it's not a big company that can build a supply chain for these kind of things. Okay, so that got me, us all thinking. In fact, we have been thinking about this long before I talked to them. I was just trying to see what kind of things blockchain technology and Web3 can actually solve. And one of the, obviously RWA, in my view, is a way to solve such problems, or at least is a way going into the future. Okay. Now, we are in Hong Kong. We have been making steady progress in blockchain, in crypto. In fact, the panel today and also Duncan's speech already made it very clear. Okay. However, if you look at what Hong Kong has been doing, we're still much focused on regulatory framework. We're still focused on Bitcoin, exchanges and everything. But I think Hong Kong needs a much bigger vision. Okay? So, I always tell people, there is a movie, 007 movie called A License to Kill. Okay? In Hong Kong, everybody is talking about license, getting a license, getting the number 7 license, number 4 license, or whatever, and I call that a license to be killed. Okay? So once you get licensed, you are bound to lose millions every month. Okay? So we have to go beyond that. And Duncan and I actually have been pushing this kind of thing. We need to think forward, and we have to make sure that the blockchain technology, all the crypto technology that has been developed are used to combine with real world asset and real world economy. Okay? So RWA offers so many advantages that Hong Kong should position itself to be a leader. In fact, this is a trend I don't think is going to stop. I mean, in fact, if we are not acting, I'm not just talking about Hong Kong, I think Singapore, I think, all the other places, we really need to get together to think about how we can go beyond just cryptos and to connect blockchain technology to the real world economy. And that will give a new life to the Web3 world and to the crypto community. Okay, and it is happening. Okay, and it is happening. In fact, I think eventually it will be the mainstay of the blockchain technology. I've been thinking so many advantages we can have through the RWA tokenization. For example, when Tecno bought all these coffee, okay, you can of course you can talk about coffee beans, the future sold in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. I look at it, okay, coffee beans, 2 kinds, Arabica and Robusta. Okay, so the good ones are Arabica, the cheaper ones are Robusta. But actually, since I'm a coffee drinker, I actually know that coffee differ from place to place, from village to village. In fact, coffee from Brazil is very different from coffee from Ethiopia, from the Guji region, from the Yegashef region, for example. Okay, and in Brazil you have so many different coffee plantations, and that are also offer different coffee. So coffee beans are very different, and that if you just group them under one, that's just not right. Okay, in fact, if we have a mature RWA tokenization mechanism and trade these on blockchains, you can actually have, you can allow even a small plantation to exchange, to sell or to trade their coffee in a very unique way. Okay, let me just put that way. Okay. And so China in particular, I think in this part of the world, we have seen the deterioration of geopolitical situation. I mean, Hong Kong is well positioned to actually be at the forefront of tokenization, of RWA tokenization. And I think this will also be a way to address the problems I mentioned earlier. For example, in Argentina, they have many natural resources. In Africa, when I talk to people in Africa, they all feel that this tokenization is a way to go for Africa to lift its way out of the current situation, the economic poverty in many regions in Africa. Okay, so I think we have a unique opportunity here. In fact, we are at a crossroad. I just hope that all of us will be united together to develop this area that I think is going to help the world. It's going to help, certainly it's going to help Hong Kong, and it's certainly going to be to help the Belt and Road in China. Okay, and so I will pretty much end here. And finally, I'd like to thank Ethan and you for the kind invitation. I also like to thank you for having the patience of listening to me. And now I guess everybody is longing for a real nice cup of coffee. I'll stop here. And for those of you who are not from Hong Kong, I also welcome you to Hong Kong. I'm from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. It's a young university, but it's very well. It's very highly ranked, and I hope that you will have a chance to visit us. In fact, I'm all looking for collaborative opportunities with many of you. In fact, I visited many companies listed probably here, and in my university we also have a lot of people in doing this particular area. So love to have opportunity to work with you guys. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah.